everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Impression Sports Talk. I'm Jasmine Pollock. Welcome back, everyone. I know I've taken a break for a long time, about 2 weeks now, but we're going to get into some very good topics today, so let's get started.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. And to kick the day off, we're going to talk about the NFL free agency. So we all are waiting for this, what's going to happen. You know, some of our NFL teams, you know, my Packers, my Seahawks, the Dolphins, what are they going to do? Who's going to move where? Where is Aaron Rodgers going to go? So let's bring in Jeremiah. Let's talk about some of the moves so far that have been made in the NFL free agency. So let's start with the Dolphins, Jeremiah. So the Dolphins are making some big moves. They have made some big moves. The first one, obviously, is going to trade for Jalen Ramsey. So that's a big deal for the secondary because you have Xavier Howard and Jalen Ramsey on the other side. What do you have to say for this? What trend do you see Miami going towards right now ever since you've seen these free agency moves?
Well, I like Miami's push for just making a splash, especially starting off the free agency with Jalen Ramsey. I mean, that's what kicked off the whole free agency actually for the whole league. Jalen Ramsey was the big piece that was moved. That was a big name this offseason. And I feel like for Miami too, they are bringing back a lot of the running back, the running back room, and also the ones that kind of been there before, because they want to run it back to where they know that they have a winner's chance right now and bringing back our running backs, plus adding in pieces like Barrios that we got from the Jets, and also other pieces that we have gotten too, because we even got a Pro Bowler in a Jets that just came. No, from the Patriots. We got him from the Patriots. Mm-hmm. Yes, and I like the way Greer is going, and especially going this direction for the team. The only thing I would just say for him to just do that we must have is a better O-line. And I know it's so hard to find them and to actually get them for a cheap price, because you already know linemen, they're gonna want their money, $60 million or up. That's the bracket is going right now for those things. And you see how the Bengals got themselves a great O-line and so many other teams. And I just feel like that's the only pieces that we're missing. I know we got some from other teams, but we need a high caliber, the one that's on the Armstead level to where it's more consistent.
And especially with, what happened with Tua last year, his health and him having those concussions, it's imperative that they make sure they give him the right protection that he needs. Of course, they get Mike White, who was the backup quarterback for the Jets. Yes. And I think he was a big acquisition because I felt like the quarterback room for Miami was, when Tua went down, it was kind of depleted, and it wasn't a lot like Skylar Thompson. He did what needed to be done in the playoff game against the Bills, but it seemed like they couldn't get to that next thing. And Teddy Bridgewater, he's constantly injured, and you can't really depend on him coming in that second string and giving good minutes and stuff like that. So I thought that was the big move for them to get Mike White. But the biggest move I did not like, the only move actually, is them trading away Mike Gesicki. And of course, Mike Gesicki, he goes to New England, so he's within the division. And
that's the crazy thing about it, just like we didn't even trade him. Like he just walked in free agency, and we didn't get anything back.
I just think for him, when I look at this Miami Dolphins team, and when Mike McDaniel came from the 49ers, he was the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. When I looked at how their offense ran, you have, of course, George Kittle at tight end. Of course, you had Deebo Samuels that you can motion in many different ways. The running game that was very, very complex, and it caused issues for defenses. And I assumed that when he went to Miami, I'm like, okay, we're probably going to see that similar type of offense. And I think every young quarterback right now in the league deserves a security blanket at tight end. I mean, you look at Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, you look at things like that. And you look at Lamar had Andrews. You look at all of those instances where you need a tight end and a quarterback, connection. And I feel like now, who is your tight end? Who is going to be there that's going to consistently make catches down the middle? Because of course, You have Jalen Waddle, you have Tyreek Hill, you have weapons all across the field. But it's the middle presence. Who is going to be that middle presence that gets you those 10, 15 yards and different things like that? That was just my biggest thing. And I thought Mike Gesicki was a very good tight end. He was probably top 10 to me in tight ends in the league. And I just felt like the Patriots stole him, because now you put him over there with Bill Belichick and Mac Jones and things like that. They're going to be able to utilize him in many different ways. So look to see that. He might have some yards on you guys, Jeremiah. I think he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great talent. I just feel like at the end of the day, he wanted his money at the end of the day.
And I
when
think
it came
Dolphins
to
should give
everything
him
else.
money.
Yeah, and I just feel like for a high caliber player, now he's not the fastest, but he can sure get the ball.
He's reliable.
At any point of the field, he can go up there, climb the ladder, get the ball. He can run you the great route that you choose him to run, and he'll make sure to catch the ball in every sense, and he is very clutch in really game situations. And I wish him the best actually going forward, because I also remember us having to get him like from the start and the finish to see it go, but still at the same time, I have to root against him now, against the Patriots. I don't like the Patriots and I don't like the Jets, and we're gonna get into the Jets in a little bit.
Speaking of, so we're gonna stay within division. That was the next segment I was gonna go into. The Bills. Now let's talk about the Bills for a little bit. So we all know for the past 2 years, the Bills have been the favorites, or top 2 in favorites to win it all, like win the Super Bowl. Even last year, they were number one. They finished number one with the odds of making the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl, because they get a lot of people. They added a lot of pieces. They got Von Miller, different things like that. And you're thinking, okay, now we didn't think that, because I already knew what was coming. But a lot of people thought this Bills team was going to be the team to beat. Now they lose in the divisional round at home to Cincinnati. Now we see, okay, can they turn that corner? Because the window is closing for this team. And this is why I say this. When you have the talks of Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, with the Jets having a top 5 defense, a very star-studded offense, and you get a Hall of Fame quarterback there, that's going to have some problems in that division. But for the Bills, they're letting a lot of their defensive pieces go.
Yes.
Their running game was not lethal. They let Isaiah McKenzie go, their slot receiver, who was very good. They let him go. Doesn't make sense. Then Stephon Diggs, that's the biggest thing. He deletes everything Bills off of his social media. So Jeremiah, what direction are the Bills going? What is their motive? What are they doing?
For the Bills right now, you build a lot of different pieces, especially in the last off seasons, to where you guys were supposed to be going by how the critics and everybody inside the media saw them. They were seeing them as a Super Bowl favorite. They were saying nobody else inside the AFC East or even in the AFC can really stack up against the Bills on paper. That's how it was put at that time. But you seeing as the time went on and throughout this whole season, they didn't really amount to the expectations that were given to them. And I just feel like going into this next season, what more can you really do? Because you have this formula right now that didn't work last year. And if you compete, if you do it again this year, it's not going to be successful this year. And that's the reliance on just Josh Allen on his feet, or you just rely on just giving Diggs the ball and then that's it.
Yeah.
That's going to have your offense is going to run at the end of the day. And I just feel like with them not putting together a running game, and not to mention or how to defend a running team, they're not going to succeed in the biggest level. And plus, you got your different teams in the AFC East in your own division that's getting twice as much better and is ready for you to like around the corner.
And think about this. Miami has made 2 big moves in the past 2 years in the free agency. They've drafted well. They've gotten the right pieces to propel them. And look,
new
the sky's the limit for Miami. They make it to the playoffs, and they battled on the road with the Bills. They did, and they had a chance. They could have won that game. Now you add somebody like a Jalen Ramsey. You re-sign people. You Tua Tagovailoa, he's going to classes to help him fall better, so that way it can prevent him from getting concussions. You're going to get offensive line, and then you have the draft. I mean, the Dolphins look legit. And then let's talk about the Jets.
Have to.
Now, I'm a Packers fan, and of course, I'm going to be hurt when Aaron leaves. But when Aaron, it's all about when. It's not if, it's when the deal is going to be signed. When Aaron gets to the Jets are automatically favorites because of what they have. Like I said, they have a top 5 defense. They have young core receivers and a running game that can run, that are physical. And then you sign Alan Lazard, which obviously looks to be, that's a cue that Aaron could be coming there. And then, not to mention, Odell Beckham is in the picture. Aaron wants Odell there. And the thing is, the Jets have some money to give. They have money to give. So there's a lot of things I feel the Bills, and then of course the Patriots are going to always be around. They're going to always, cause issues for people. But for the Bills, they had to go last year, because now it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Josh Allen in the division. And then if we're looking at bigger pictures, you still have the Chiefs. You still have the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Patriots.
Yes.
Not to mention Sean Payton's in Denver. There's going to be a lot of things going on that I feel like it's not just going to be easy for you to just, go there and do what you did last year, because people are getting better. Teams are making moves, and it does not seem that the Bills are urgent right now. But let's go to the AFC West. And before we go to break, let's talk about this final team, the Las Vegas Raiders. I thought Aaron was going to go there. I really did. I thought Aaron was him and Devontae are going to team back up. But I'm actually glad he didn't go there, because it seems like the Raiders have some dysfunction going on. So they signed Jimmy Garoppolo. I wouldn't have paid that much for Jimmy Garoppolo, because he has been injured. We haven't seen him finish a full season. He's been injured and in and out of the lineup, but they give him big money. You let Darren Waller go. They trade their star tight end, Darren Waller, to New York for just a 3rd-round pick. Jeremiah, explain what the issue is.
To me, right then and there, it really made no sense, because at the end of the day, when it comes to the Raiders, what direction are you headed in right now? You get rid of a top tight end like that, arguably like one of the best right now in the game right now, and you give him up just for a 3rd-round pick. First of all, it's really disrespectful because of how high of a caliber he has been playing throughout these whole seasons. Now, last season, I understand he had injury and everything else like that, but you can't diminish what he has done in a previous time. And
absolutely.
You put him into a even better, like a better situation. You're depleting your team at the end of the day, because you have Adams over there, and then you got Jimmy G coming in, but still at the same time, who is the tight end he's going to throw to? And as a fan, I understand when it comes to the Raider Nation fans that it can be a huge question mark of what was the point of moving him in the first place. I understand off the field things when it came to the coach and the player with that situation. But you just don't let a player go like that and not get anything back in return that's really valuable. And
the Giants stole him. I mean, for a 3rd-round pick, the Giants just got better. I mean, they were a playoff team. They went to the divisional round, and now you add a caliber like a Darren Waller, and then that only helps your team. So, I mean, the Giants stole him for a 3rd-round pick. But I just feel like you signed Jimmy G, and then you trade the security blanket in Darren Waller. I don't understand it, but the biggest thing is the stigma and the reputation around Josh McDaniels. There's a lot of questions about his character as a coach, because, of course, he was the offensive coordinator with the Patriots and Tom Brady, and, Tom Brady and him know each other, but he has not done anything outside of Tom Brady.
No.
He coached for the Broncos, didn't really work well. Then he's with the Raiders. Things are not going into place. So when I look at this, there's a lot of things I see from Josh McDaniels that are some question marks. But we're going to get into March Madness in the next segment. We're going to go to a short break that wraps up this segment about the NFL free agency. We're definitely going to keep our eyes on many more teams and many more moves to come. There's still a lot of teams on the board. There's still a lot of players on the board. Then, of course, we have the draft next month. So we're going to look into a lot of things. But when we get back, we're going to talk about the NCAA women's and men's tournament. So don't go anywhere.
I'm Leon Thomas with the Leon Thomas Group. Podcast, virtual events, webinars, streaming shows, and so much more. We want to be your partner in all things virtual.
Welcome back to Jazz's First Impression Sports Talk. If you like to see past episodes of my show, you can go to my website at subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's jasmineonsports.com, or Jasmine on Sports, rather. And if you would like to follow me on Twitter, it's going to be at JazzyS, where I tweet a bunch of things throughout the day, NHL, NBA, NFL, a bunch of different sports topics. But let's get into the NCAA tournament. So right now it is March Madness, the moment we've all been waiting for, and our brackets are horrible. Our brackets have been shattered.
Not looking good.
I picked certain teams to win, and I'm thinking this team is going to match up, and these teams are gone. So, Jeremiah, what is your biggest takeaways from March Madness so far? Now, I know did the Canes win last night?
Yes, the Canes did win. They blew out the team, and now they're set to face number 1 Houston, which is going to be a great game because we even upset, because we were, I think, a 5th seed and Indiana was a 4th seed.
Yeah.
We beat them, and so we're moving on. But one thing that did surprise me, especially inside this whole tournament, Kentucky, Kansas, and also Duke are not in the tournament anymore. Those are ones that you are always seeing every time you will turn on the TV during March Madness throughout our years. Since we were younger, even before us, you have like historic schools like that is known for always getting to the Sweet 16, Final Four, and also just the championship games that birth so many different athletes that we have playing in the NBA right now. If you just name so many, they'll be like, oh yeah, I came from Kansas, I came from Kentucky, I came from Duke, and so many. And right now, you have so many different, schools that were probably looked over, but they're just having incredible years. FAU having the year of their life right now.
I did not see FAU getting this far. I promise you I didn't. I picked Memphis in the first place to go further. I was assuming Memphis was going to be in the Final Four, but FIU kicks them out. But could FIU be, or FAU be the Cinderella story? Maybe that's, we're always looking for the Cinderella stories on both sides. So you never know. And when I look at it, this is what I love about college basketball. College basketball is so competitive. You don't ever see these games go to 100 points. You don't ever see it. It's very competitive, very physical, defense, there's a lot of stuff. But let's go to the women's tournament. Of course, Caitlin Clark, she sent Georgia home yesterday. Man. She sent Georgia home yesterday. She said, oh, no, you're going home. Bye. She is carrying Iowa right now. I mean, carrying. And not to mention this LSU team, I didn't realize how good the LSU team is, the women's LSU team. They are very good.
Very good.
Very good. And they have a star player as well, but her name is escaping me. But she's another star player. I think she's their center. Yes. Very, very talented. She broke some records, I believe. And then, of course, South Carolina. South Carolina is the team to beat. They're the number 1. They're the champs. They're the team to beat, and they're blowing everybody out. But I want to see how far Iowa can go and how far Caitlin Clark can take this team. I really do. She's one of my favorite players in the tournament, and I feel like she is putting this team on her back and saying, you know what? We're going to go in there. We're going to beat this team. Trust in me and believe in me, and we're going to make it. And right now, she's proving that. So, Jeremiah, what do you have to say about Caitlin Clark and how dominant of a player she is?
Well, when it comes to her, it's just proven to me, especially during this tournament, she's ready for any and everything. And you don't really see her now. You can say that if she's maybe starts to a slow rhythm and everything, but she makes sure to impact the game on so many different levels. Like we just seen the last game, a triple-double. And that's not only just her putting the points up, but rebounds, assisting, getting other ones involved. And it just shows her impact when she is on that court, because without her, this team is not going to be the same without her. But with her being on the floor, being the general, plus taking advantage, it's like, she's like, I can take this game over. I can win this for us. And I love that mentality inside of her, because she shows up and then you never have to question if she loves this or not. And also just wants to go further because, she's just a winner at the end of the day.
Yeah. And she can win on so many different levels in the game. Like, she can shoot, she can assist, she can play defense, she can go in the paint, she can do a multitude of things. And I saw she hit a logo 3. I mean, a logo 3. She just said, I'm gonna shoot it. And all net. And these teams do not have an answer. They don't have an answer for her. And I feel like now I do think they can make it to the final 8 or the Elite 8, rather. I think they can make it to the Elite 8, but I don't know if they can make it to the 4 and then the championship, because if you look at the teams like, of course, South Carolina, you look at the teams like Notre Dame, who is around still, you look at LSU and all these schools, they have a multitude of players that can do a lot of things. Whereas she's carrying this team. Now, she has role players that can, get some buckets and get some rebounds and play some defense, but we know that's Caitlin's team. With all these other teams, they are loaded. They're loaded, on the bench, on the, their starters, everything is loaded. So I don't know if they can make it that far. Of course I'm rooting for her. I want her to win, but I don't know if they can make it past some of these tough teams that are stacked.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a difficult road going down, and that's just like what the Canes, because the women's, they actually played number 1 Utah today. They're 9th, but we've seen upsets after upsets each day. Always have faith, because when they were down and out their last game,
they were down 17.
They was down 17. They came back and they won by 1 point. That's what March Madness is all about. I mean, I just love these games, and I love the effort that they just put in. The fans coming out there, showing their supports, and you know how loud those places get, especially during March Madness. It's just so electrifying. I can't wait to see as it goes further who is going to be that Cinderella that's going to keep going and also upset somebody's favorites.
And that's the thing about March Madness. Anybody can get upset. You might think you have the top seeded teams that have been dominant all year, and then you got this one team that's the 15th spot and the 14th spot. They come in and said, "Oh, we can play with you."
You have a career shooting day.
The top athlete, right? They're going there and they're going to compete, and that's what I love about March Madness. That's why it's called March Madness, because you think the top seeded teams, they're the ones going to coast. Nah, these teams are gritty and they are competitive. They are not afraid of the moment at all, and it's just amazing to see a lot of these talented players from the top seeds to the lower seeds competing at the highest level with each other and making names for themselves. And look at Princeton. For example, Princeton. Now, we know Princeton is a prestigious academic school. They're in the Sweet 16.
Yes.
No one saw Princeton. I didn't see Princeton.
Princeton get in there. Yeah.
And look, now now we're making a name for ourselves. Now, Princeton's in the Sweet 16 to compete. There's a lot of teams in there that I did not see coming.
And even Alabama. Alabama's having a huge year.
Yeah. But of course, now Alabama looks legitimately the best team. Legitimately, they look like the best team. But you just got to be careful, because you got these other teams that are just lingering around and just saying, "Hey, we're not afraid. We have top guys. You have top guys, and we're gonna battle with you." And I feel like now I'm picking Alabama to win it all, just because the football school is going to win it all. But there's some teams that's going to give them some problems. So there's some teams out there that's going to give them some problems. And then, of course, on the women's side, I have South Carolina winning, because they're the defending champs. They are the team to beat. They've been dominant for the past few years now, so I think that's the team to beat. But Caitlin Clark, of course, can make a splash. I don't think they're going to get that far, but they can make a splash. And, of course, you have LSU. You have all these teams that are just around that are competing at the highest level. So we got to keep watching it. It's fun to watch. But I want to shout out Cole real quick, because he told me to mention this. So the Penguins got destroyed 0-6 in hockey, and he was saying that how pathetic that they looked. They looked very pathetic, lackluster, and they didn't look like they were trying. And the Lightning lost yesterday too. We lost to the New Jersey Devils. It's unfortunate. We were up 2-1, and then they just come back and win 5-2. I don't know how that happened, but I am Kucherov. He has 100 points under his belt. That's a lot. I'm very happy for that. But the Lightning the Lightning have been losing some games. Like, they have go on a win streak and they lose, and a win streak lose, and that kind of thing. But they're still in the 3 spot. They're still in that third pick. And I hope the Lightning continue to mount some wins, because obviously the playoffs is coming in the summer. We're really excited about that. And of course, I want the Lightning to go back to the Stanley Cup. They've been in the Stanley Cup for the past 3 years now. So, I'm really excited for that. But I feel for Cole. The the Penguins started off really hot this season. They destroyed the Lightning in the first game they played, and they just dipped after that. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're making the right moves and the right trades.
Yeah, because, just looking at this conference, because I actually just put up right now, of course, you got Tampa in the 7th spot. You got New York in the 8th, Penguins in the 9th, and the Panthers in the 10th. Like, they're right under each other, battling for those spots and everything else. I just think right now, I just don't know. Like, for the Lightning this year, like, how would you grade them, like, so far in this first half?
So it's the same things I've been seeing all for the past few years. They always are in the top 5. You don't ever see the Lightning below that. Like, the Lightning have, for the past few years, the Lightning have either been 1, 2, or 3. Right now they're number 3. And if we're gonna stay in that spot, I mean, they're winning. We're winning a lot of games. That's the thing. But it's just, we have those games that we lose, and we're just like, okay, that makes no sense.
Right.
But the thing what's scary about the Lightning is when they get into the playoffs, they're a completely different team. That's why they went to the Stanley Cup 3 straight years.
Right.
They've been dominant. And actually, the past decade, they've been in the playoffs. These past 3 years, they've been in the Stanley Cup final. They won 2. They were going to go for the 3-peat last year. But that's the thing about the Lightning. The Lightning, I don't know what it is, and I'm so glad I'm a Lightning fan. The Lightning have been so consistent for so many years out of every Tampa Bay team, whether that's the Bucks, the Rays, the Rowdies, whatever. They have been the most consistent team in Tampa. And when they get to the playoffs, you don't want to see them. You just don't. You might say, oh, they lost a couple of games. Like, Jeremiah, remember, the Panthers swept them in the regular season. Swept them. But then in the playoffs,
it's a
Lightning
different
sent them
story.
home. Like, it was like done.
Yeah.
And that's what the Lightning is about. They're a team that they're gonna stay within the race. They're gonna stay in that top three section and stay within the wins. And then the playoffs, they go ham. They go crazy.
I would love that there's another Panthers and Lightning series again.
You don't want that. I'm sorry. You don't want that.
I would want
you
it.
do not want that.
I would want it. It'll probably get a 7-game series. Who knows?
Okay,
Who knows?
7-game series. But the toughest team right now, I would say, is the Bruins, because
they are killing it.
They broke a record. They're the number 1 in the East right now. They broke a record for getting the fastest. They're the first team in NHL history to reach 50 wins, the fastest, and already in the playoffs. They already have a playoff berth. So that's a big thing for them.
That's crazy.
I'm never gonna put my Lightning down. We can beat anybody. Period.
Hey, any position.
Lightning can beat anybody. I'm not afraid of that. Some of these teams haven't been to the Stanley Cup in how long? The Lightning been for the past 3 years, so I'm not even worried. You just got to beat us. When it comes to playoff time, nobody wants to see us in the playoffs. No one. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the Bruins. I don't care if you're the Rangers. I don't care if you're the Devils. I don't care who you are.
The Lightning are a different team in the playoffs. They're a different team in the playoffs. I will always say that, because watching it over these last 3 years, the Lightning, when they get inside of that zone, especially in the playoffs, I've seen these games live, especially watching it with you. It's just a different animal they play.
It's something special to watch. They don't have to be the number 1 seed every time. They don't. They can be in that 2 spot, that 3 spot, or whatever, and they just go on a tear. But that wraps up First Impression Sports Talk. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, Remy. Thank you to the audience for continuing to support and continue to give your love and your thoughts and different things like that. We'll definitely keep watching what's going on with hockey, because the playoffs are coming. March Madness, we're going to get into the Sweet 16 round. Really excited about that. And of course, we're going to keep our eyes on the NFL and the free agency news and what's going to happen when Aaron is going to go to the Jets. Where is Odell going to go? There's a lot of things going on. And then, of course, the NBA. We're getting to that crunch time where it's going to be time for playoffs as well in the NBA. So that wraps up First Impression Sports Talk. See you guys next Monday for more.